Hey everybody, this is John Troutman for Cork'd.com, and I'm sitting in one of the wine meccas of New York City, uptown on the corner of Columbus and 66th Street, I believe.
Broadway.
66th and Broadway.
64th and Broadway.
64th and Broadway, I'm sorry. We are sitting here in the cellar of one of the most impressive wine lists in all of New York City with a guy who really knows his wine stuff. I'm going to let him introduce himself to you and tell you a little bit about his background. So, Michael, take it away.
I'm Michael Madrigale, the wine director, head sommelier for Bar Boulud.
Bar Boulud, for people who aren't familiar with the Boulud name, tell us a little bit about the guy who represents this whole restaurant and his background and how you got acquainted with him.
Well, so that's Chef Daniel Boulud. He comes from the Lyon in the south of France, and just one of the most exciting, most respected, most skilled chefs in the world today. The restaurant here, Bar Boulud, it is based around the food of the Rhone Valley and Burgundy. And Lyon is sort of the crossroads between those two regions of food and wine. So the food represents those two areas, and the wine does as well. So the list we have here is based mostly on wines Burgundy and the Rhone Valley.
Gotcha. Danielle has an amazing track record. You look, he has James Beard Awards. You look at the wine list here, and you've won a number of different awards, and you've been recognized in a number of different ways. Talk about working for Danielle. What is that like? Is it stressful? Is it fun?
It's both.
Cool. Okay.
You know, Danielle is. I've never worked for a chef who I am inspired by every single day from when I work side by side with Danielle. He is very technical, he's very precise, he's very detail-oriented, and I find he's very inspiring because you have many chefs who are flying all over the world and aren't in the kitchen at all. Where Danielle, he's in the kitchen every night, whether that be at Danielle here in New York or at Bar Boulud or at Bar Boulud in London. I mean, he's always in the kitchen, he's very hands-on. So he's someone that to be so successful and to be so well known and to still be involved every day with all the details is inspiring.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned Burgundy and the Rhone, and they have a decidedly, a big influence on both the wine list and the menu here. Two categories of wine that can get pretty pricey. A guy comes in here, he has deep pockets, and he wants the ultimate food and wine pairing experience. What are you pouring from your cellar?
Well, if he wants the ultimate food and wine experience, I would say stick with the classics that we have here. So maybe get Coq au Vin, what they do that amazingly here, and get an old Hermitage from Chave. I mean, I think if you pair those two things together, fireworks go off. I mean, that is the ultimate for me dish and wine that we could serve here.
Very cool. I'm kind of excited personally that you went Northern Rhone as opposed to Burgundy, because it seems like all the Psalms want to go Burgundy. So,
well, I find there's a similarity and sort of a similarity of spirit of the Rhone, the Northern Rhone particularly, and Burgundy. I mean, they're cool climate areas, and they work with one grape. Côte Rôtie is like Burgundy. I mean, it has the texture, the acid, the weight. The only difference is really the flavors. But the DNA is quite similar. So I find myself going back and forth between what is my favorite area of the day between those two.
It's probably going to be a little different every day.
Yeah.
So flip the coin. You have somebody come into the restaurant who's a little bit younger, someone maybe my age, or they're on a date, and they're kind of pinching their pennies. They're looking, but at the same time they want a good value.
Right.
What are you pouring for value wines?
That is something very important to me, and that is a focus for me for the list here, because I'm that person as well. When I go out to eat and when I go to restaurants, I don't buy the most expensive wines. I can't afford it. So I'm always looking for value. And in the Rhone Valley and Languedoc and Roussillon, which is pretty much, they share a lot of similarities, I find there's so much great wine from that area. I mean, anything coming from a warmer climate in France, you always know the wines will be ripe. They'll always be fruity, they'll always be rich, and great with lots of different types of food. So if someone came in here and looking for value, I would immediately direct them to Languedoc, Roussillon, or the Rhone Valley. Anything based on Grenache and Syrah.
Gotcha. A lot of people watching this video are pretty tech savvy. Majority of them are on Twitter, they're on Facebook, and I know that's kind of an area you've gotten pretty active in.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what you've done with Twitter and some of the fun things that you're doing there.
It's really fun. Working with Twitter and doing what I'm doing here has it's a passion of mine. I didn't think I would really like it when I first started it, but it's almost taking over my life. I'm always tweeting something. I'm always checking things out, what's going on over there. But what I do specifically here is every night I'll open up a large bottle of wine and I'll pour it by the glass. And that ranges from Magnum to Methuselah or Imperial, a 6-liter bottle. And what I'll do is I'll find the wine, depending on what the chef is cooking for the night. I'll choose the wine. I'll take a picture of it with my iPhone and then send it to Twitter and just have a description of what I'm pouring of the night, the price of the glass, and the year of the wine, and send it to cyberspace, and hoping to bring in interest for people out there, hopefully in the area, to come in and have a glass, because these are wines that you don't have an opportunity to taste very often, especially out of that format, and especially by the glass, and just doing it for fun. It's the type of thing that if I was walking into the restaurant and I saw that, I would immediately have a glass. And I would go there and, as much as possible to take part in this, because it's not common.
What are we pouring tonight?
Tonight I have a Jeroboam of a 1999 Gamay from Cantalupo. And that's an area that I find more and more exciting, are these areas in the Piedmont in Italy that aren't Barolo and aren't Barbaresco, but are very close in the Piedmont or a little bit further east, that grow the same grape. Because I find there's a lot of value there. And you're not paying for the big names of those appellations like Barolo and Barbaresco, or the big names of the producers. You're getting a lot of the same qualities if the year is good and the producer is good for a fraction of the price. So that's what I'm doing tonight.
Awesome.
And I find more and more excitement out of that area than a lot of places.
Very cool. Michael, thank you so much
My
for your
pleasure.
time. This has been awesome. Guys, if you're in the New York City area, highly encourage you to come check out the list here. 64th and Broadway, you said?
That's right.
64th and Broadway, Bar Boulud. We're going to go pour a glass of the Jeroboam and enjoy ourselves. Thanks so much.